There we go. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
We are broadcasting live
What
from the
is-
studios of Pure Officiating. And
That would be cool to have some studios. I'm jealous of those that have them. I don't think I'd make it in though. I'd probably be remote.
well, I thought you had a mobile studio. You don't have that?
I do have a mobile studio.
Oh, okay.
Right next to an airstrip.
Sometimes
And a dog kennel.
that happens. Well, one dog at a time and one airplane at a time. But yeah.
Oh man, that's too funny.
But I'm good, guys. Thanks for asking. Yeah, everything's going really. So, how are you guys?
I'm phenomenal. Other than this sickness that I can't shake, I
Yeah,
picked
you
it up
gotta-
down at the CFO
my
West Spring Clinic,
Yeah,
and it's just yeah.
you got to lead an overall healthier life, though. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yep.
yeah, you
What?
got to be clean, man.
Yep.
My lifestyle is pretty doggone clean.
You're a dirty dude, man.
How do you move from San Francisco to Denver and get sicker? That's weird. No offense to anybody who lives in San Francisco or used to.
I don't think anybody in the universe is living in San Francisco.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Uh,
We do have new people though, constantly coming in. So welcome to those who are new.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can we get started? All this small talk. Some of us have to leave early today. We have a very important meeting to attend.
I understand. Let's go.
Okay, I'm really getting sick and tired of all this small talk. Anyway, how about this? We're gonna start with a poll. We're looking at gentleman scholar B5 of the defense. He's the left defensive end. You'll see the play loop. We've been talking about this basic spot concept, and Brandon has really got me excited about it for some unknown reason. But we're looking at B5 and see what he did. He blocked A71 low. So we need to know the basic spot and the enforcement spot. Or is it even a foul? You know, if you don't even feel like going through all this crap, it might not even be a foul. So that's your first option. Then the other options are tell us what the basic spot is, tell us what the enforcement spot is. And I didn't loop the video. Here we go.
I'm just wondering why the poll writer didn't use the other 14 letters of the alphabet for choices on this poll.
I think the poll maxed out at letter L.
This might be the longest one ever.
No, but it's really simple, right?
Uh-huh.
You have 3 basic spots. You have three
Yeah, that's true.
3 enforcement spots.
So you just gotta like
Yeah.
3 to the third power. No,
Yeah.
no, 3 to the second power. 2 to the third power.
I don't know what you're trying to do there, Brandon, but it's wrong. Whatever.
Yeah, we're good, bud.
Yeah. Sorry. So if the poll popped up, you can hit do it later, watch the play, and then there's probably a menu to your right. I think this is how it works. I can't remember for sure, but that shows the poll.
Anybody ever been to Durham, North Carolina? That's where Duke is.
No, I have
I've
not.
been there.
Why?
We were doing dang. I do have children, and we were doing like a college
yeah.
tour. And
Oh wow.
one of my kids was looking at North Carolina, University of North Carolina, and we
What's
ended
in-
up
Okay.
is in Chapel Hill, which is really close
Right.
to Durham.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, so we were all in that area. Been to Raleigh as well. Raleigh is where North Carolina State is.
You had a game there, huh?
No,
Oh,
all on that same trip. Just wanted
Oh,
to go
okay.
see those areas.
nice.
Yeah, what they call it? I think they call it something triangle, the research triangle, or something like that.
The what?
The research triangle, or something like this. It's I don't know.
That sounds a little pompous.
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Whoa, Richie Hahn said postgraduate study at Duke.
Whoa.
Dang.
I think I gotta go. That's awesome.
That's so cool.
Jeez. Okay, he's gonna give Michael Billico a run for his money. The
Research triangle. There it is. Dang. Okay. Cool. Oh man.
I thought Billico
Charlotte, North Carolina is another city. They play football games there sometimes.
not college football.
Uh-huh.
If you're talking about the Charlotte 49ers, that's not college football.
Wow. I mean, gee.
I
I hope there's no non-conference potentials.
They are moving their way up into, but they're just not a good team. I'm sorry.
I thought they did something in maybe baseball, maybe basketball. I'm not sure.
Yeah, just try another one. Tiddlywinks. The famous Toastery Bowl was there, I believe. If anybody's tracking at home.
In Charlotte or
Yeah.
Durham?
No, that was in
Charlotte.
Where does Coastal Carolina play?
Oh,
Myrtle Beach.
Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. That's not even the same state.
That's true. It's not.
Oh, we got votes all over the place. I love this. This is what we like. This is what we like to see.
A million options. I mean, okay.
I think most people just didn't feel like reading all the options. They said, you know
Oh,
what, this ain't a foul.
It's a lot of work.
We're not throwing this flag.
It's a long day of work, and now you're asking me to do all this. I mean, I didn't have a long day of work,
Why? We know, Brandon.
but a lot of people do. My son played a 2.5-hour tennis match today. It was insane.
Dang.
Wow.
2 sets or 3 sets?
Well, they played 2 full sets, and then in lieu of a third set, they played a 10-point tiebreaker, and we played every point possible, I think.
Good.
We did. Again, we didn't. He did. I watched.
Yeah.
I held the clipboard, so.
Did you fairly score?
No, the 1v1.
Yeah, singles. Did I fairly score it? I don't know. He likes to know his stats, so I keep his stats for him.
Oh, you were keeping stats. You weren't scoring the match. Okay, because I wouldn't trust you to score.
They keep score. Tennis is cool because you keep score yourself,
Right.
which creates a lot of conflict.
I don't.
And
see
there's
how.
an app. There's an app that can do it for you now that is going to just change the whole,
Well, who's pressing the button on the app?
No, it's all AI. It's all video based. It's
Oh,
incredible.
get out of here. I'm not trying to listen to that. That's BS.
We're going to try it.
No, that's trash. Come on.
You're not an AI guy.
I
I couldn't figure out this poll. I know that, but maybe the universe can.
No, the universe can't. We got.
Let's check it out.
Come on, close the
Did
poll.
you guys get chastised for too long of polls?
Not chastised. We had a really good conversation about it. So here we go. 42% of us say, you know what? I'm not reading all this crap. That's not even a foul. 32% of us say the basic spot is the previous spot, and the enforcement spot is the end of the run. And then we have a selection of 5%ers. I don't know if that's a bad term, so excuse me if it is. I know they got all kind of stuff out there. Basic spot is the spot of the foul. Enforcement spot says Team A will likely decline the penalty and take the result of the play. Okay. Basic spot is the previous spot. Enforcement spot is the previous spot. Okay. Basic spot is the previous spot. Enforcement spot. Team A will decline the penalty and take the result of the play. And then basic spot is the end of the run. And the enforcement spot is the spot of the foul. Wow. So first of all, is this a foul or not? We got to figure that part out.
I can't wait to hear this conversation.
Oh, you on the fence with if it's a foul or not too, Corey?
No, I'm not on a fence, but this I think is going to highlight the some of the crutches one of the crutches that we use in officiating.
Ooh. Okay. So, Daniel, you want to, since Corey kind of set us up there, that's interesting. What do you think here, DY? Is this a foul or not?
Well, why don't we talk about the rule?
Yeah, let's start there. That's an easy way to start.
So we know the restrictions from Team B are really different
Yep.
than Team A.
Pretty basic too, right?
Yeah. I mean, especially relative to Team A's restrictions.
Yeah.
So the two things we're looking for is it's really one thing we're looking for. If we have a Team B player who's stationary within 1 yard of the line of scrimmage,
Uh-huh.
within the tackle box,
Uh-huh.
he can block low on his initial line charge. So we have to decide, does he meet the formation requirements? Is he within the 1 yard of the line of scrimmage, within the tackle box? Then once we decide that, we have to decide what does it mean? What in the world does it mean, the initial line charge? And is this that or not? Or we may just say, look, he doesn't meet the formation requirements. So then we're done. But if he does meet the formation requirements, we have to decide what is the initial line charge.
Right.
So we know when we're talking about the tackle box relative to backs, because that's a little bit similar, right? In terms of restriction based upon formation, we give a back any piece of the tackle to be in the tackle box, right?
Correct.
So are we going to extend that same courtesy, if you want to call it that, to defensive linemen who are within 1 yard of the line of scrimmage?
I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I like this dude in the box. I would like to, because he's getting a piece of the tackle. I would like to put him in the box.
Right. Yeah. So that's exactly what I was going to say is I think he's getting a piece of the tackle. So then I would think we would want to use that same standard, even though it's probably not one that's published. I mean, that's rule, matter of fact, and make him in the box.
Right. Okay, good. So it's not a foul then.
Well, it's not. He's not restricted based upon where he's lined up. I don't know if we should say that. Let's just say because he's lined up where he is, there is the potential for him to block low and it not be a foul.
Right.
What it has to be is a part of his initial line charge.
Right.
And, how do we interpret that? What does that mean? And does this meet that standard?
Can I help here?
Please.
I'm one of the simplest dudes in the history of the world. I've never seen a man stand up, chop his steps about 4 times, and then dive low and say, that's my initial charge. I've never in my life seen that as an initial charge. I don't know about you.
Does the fact that he's blocking a pulling lineman, does that
that's another hint that it's probably not his initial charge.
That's what I was thinking. We haven't had a ton of guidance on this. There hasn't been a whole lot of conversation about how we want to manage this. But I tend to agree with you that when it's a pulling guy like this and he has the opportunity to stand up and kind of make a read and then go low into the blocker, it doesn't feel like his initial line charge.
Right. So we got some really good advice when we were at the clinic, and the clinician, the position leader, was talking about flag placement and everything. Before I went to the clinic 2 weeks ago, I would have took my flag and slammed it right in the top of his head. I mean, that's just a foul. I'm sorry.
So what was the advice you got that would prevent you from doing that?
Well, we were counseled to watch out flag placement and avoid throwing flags.
Oh yeah, that's right. That same thing I tried to teach you for years.
Yeah. I don't listen to you, Daniel. I don't know if you know that or not.
I know, but maybe this is evidence that you should.
Yeah. I like hitting players with flags. Like if they make me mad, I think that's hit them with the flag.
Spike
Thoughts of Tuta Salam are not indicative of the overall outlook of pure fish shooting.
Dang.
Wait, so it's a foul? This is a foul?
Absolutely, it's a foul.
Oh, okay. Did that align with what Corey was anticipating? I'm dying.
I don't know. Yeah, what were you talking about, Corey?
I think we always hear this, that I would bet a good sized chunk of money that people that say this is not a foul because they say, well, the lineman hit him with his hands. Get
out of here! I'm gonna break my computer if I hear that.
But that's being talked about, and that
we do hear that.
We
still hear that,
all the time. And it is. I mean, if we were to use that, if we were actually to rely on that, we would never have a foul for block below the waist, because anybody seeing a human diving at their legs is going to naturally react and put their hands down.
That's right.
That does not take away the intent of the block or the contact of the block. And so if there's intention to go low and there's contact low, that to me, that's all you need to check those boxes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well said, Mr.
Well said.
Yeah, I'm all over that. The only thing I would say, Tuta, is based on some of the conversation we had as a crew, I agree that this is a foul. I don't know that it's I think there's some folks who are maybe thinking that is initial charge. It's not like he runs up and down the line. So I guess you've already done it, kind of broken it down why we kind of feel like it's not a part of his initial charge. But we're also, we had conversations within our crew about, like, it's not just that he doesn't have to go like low at the snap. There is some leeway where he has the opportunity, like, because, so for example, if the tackle that he's lined up on kind of posts and he takes a couple of steps and goes into him, we could consider that initial charge. This is more about like it's not so much the distance from the block to where he's lined up. It's kind of just his behavior going into it.
I'm not even comfortable with that, Daniel.
Okay, why not?
Because I think the initial charge is what happens when the ball is snapped and your hand comes off the ground. I think that's your initial charge.
See, I think that's too I don't know what to say, too restrictive. I don't think it's quite
literal.
that tight. Yeah.
Yeah, because we don't do that for offensive linemen too, Todd. We allow them that drop step and then be able to go low.
Not from the side, though.
I didn't say anything about being from the side.
Well, that's what the relevance of the offensive lineman blocking low is. From the side, if they block low from the side, it has to be on their initial charge. And I don't think we can stand up and start reading plays and then go low and then call that initial charge. I don't like that.
I thought for sure that we received a national type training tape where a left guard or a left tackle was dropping into pass pro, and that defensive end is looping outside, and they went out to they blocked to the side, and they said that was still the initial charge.
Huh.
Yeah, I like that as not a foul. But I mean, I'm coming from a different mindset here, but I like that as not a foul just because it's a one-on-one matchup, and it's kind of that. It's not initial charge per se, but it's initial matchup. They're both focused on each other.
Right.
That's why I like that as not a foul.
I like that too. Yep, I like that.
Yeah. Okay, so 44% of us. Thanks for playing. Good night.
Wait, mechanics. So what about mechanics? The question is, what about the line of scrimmage official getting in on this, or at least seeing it?
I'll let you answer that, Brandon.
Is it double singles? No, it's not double. What's 82?
It's two backs in the backfield. So the scrimmage up top is working one of those backs in the backfield.
Well, I think line of scrimmage up top should be all over 82 on that kind of wheel route thing. So
yeah, but he's running in space. There's nobody even around 82.
82?
Low block happens, nobody's around 82.
36 is chasing 82. 21 catches the ball.
Right, but I'm saying at the time when 82 released, 36 was like 10 yards away from it, and this dude blocked low.
An exaggeration. But anyways, it's going to be. I don't know. The referee should have this.
Oh, absolutely.
We should be all over this because this is our area. We're reading pass. So we're just looking for pressure from this side, and this happens. I'm sorry, matchups and confrontations from this side. This happens, so we should be all over this. Like if this pulling guard held this guy, that's the referee's call.
That's right. So
there's no reason that it's a low. Now, if what you say is true, that the line of scrimmage official is truly freed up, then perhaps there's a chance that's another area of responsibility, but sure would like to think about, we got 5, we for sure have 4 pass routes going here, and then this back is out clearly unthreatened. But I just rather see the line of scrimmage work downfield.
I agree with that. I can agree with that. If they're Superman, they can see both, but I agree with that. We need to prioritize working eligible receivers, and we've drilled that into people's heads too.
Yeah, we wouldn't want to miss something on 82 because we're officiating that tackle who someone else is responsible for.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's a good question. Yeah, and just to double down, right, what Corey was saying, this low block to make a foul, it's not initial contact. I don't know. Maybe the rule even says, I don't know what the rule says. It's just not initial contact because we don't really officiate it that way. It's the force and direction of the contact. And this is just so obviously and clearly low, below the waist. There's some incidental contact with the hands, forearms, whatever, but we're really looking at look at the body mechanics of number 5. He is going low. He's going low. No question. I'm 1,000% convinced he's going low. He ducks that shoulder and attempts to deliver a blow below the waist. So that's what we're looking for to conclude it's indeed a low block, whether it's legal or illegal.
Right. Okay, so I guess this is the fun part. We get to enforce it.
Yeah. So we got a flag down.
What's the basic spot? How do we figure out what's the basic spot?
I've got a pass
Out of the
play
foul?
here. No, okay, Danny. The basic spot can never be the spot of the foul
Oh,
for the fifth week in a row.
we should start saying that more often. Hey, I like this. What kind of play is it before we get to the basic spot?
Yeah, it's a pass play.
Pass play.
Pass play.
But wait, I thought personal fouls on pass plays we can tack them on.
Well, we can, but that's
end the
not the
run.
basic spot. I mean, and the other thing is, the quarterback still has the ball when this block happens. So why is it a pass play? A pass play is defined as everything up to the pass until the pass play ends, right?
Yep, from the snap to the pass.
Yeah, so that's just definitions, and
So
that
let's-
informs what our basic spot is, which is the previous spot as a result.
And that's important too, because here we go. Matthew said it. It's a pass play until the ball's caught. Now it's a running play. So we've got to, if we have a flag on this, we've got to know when it occurred. It's not super close here, right? But it could be.
Yeah, absolutely. That's important.
Yeah, and hopefully the referee has the wherewithal to properly communicate with the crew, like the referee likes to drill into everybody else's head. You need to communicate with me well enough on these. Well, the referee also, this is a two-way street. The referee needs to communicate well with the crew as well.
Yeah, because we really set a high standard for crew mates reporting fouls. And then usually the worst reporter of fouls on the crew is the person wearing the white hat.
That's correct.
I'm just going to announce it. They should know what to do.
Exactly. And that's not fair to the crew.
It's not fair. I'm guilty as charged. All right.
All right. So, okay, the basic spot is the previous spot. Okay, fine. So let's just mark it off. Oh, no, they're going to decline it then if it's at the previous spot.
Yeah, right. It's a foul by the defense. So 3-1 tells us that fouls by the defense are enforced from the basic spot.
Correct.
Unless there's an exception, unless it's specific in the rule. So
And there is a specific something in the rule book. So let's
yeah.
go to
Okay.
I should have had my deal up. I thought I had it up. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Rule 10. Just go to Rule 10. You'll find it. 10-3, I'm
it's
sure.
Rule 9 for personal fouls.
No, it's Rule 10.
Is it? Okay. Sorry.
Yeah,
10
10-2-2 something, right?
I don't know, 10 something. Here
All
we
right.
go. 10-2
2E.
2E for Team B fouls during a legal forward pass play. Penalty enforcement for Team B personal fouls and unsportsmanlike conduct is at the end of the last run when it ends beyond the neutral zone and there is no change of team possession during the down. I do not think that there was a change of team possession on this down, and the run ended beyond the neutral zone. So the enforcement spot is specifically dictated by this rule, and the enforcement spot will be the end of the run on this particular play.
So the key word in that whole clause, there's lots of keywords. But when it says pass play, right? So the foul doesn't have to actually occur during the pass.
No.
Just during the pass play. And we talked about that. That's all the action leading up to the end of the pass, which is when he catches it. So boom. This foul occurs during the pass play, even though the quarterback still had the football, and it wasn't during the pass, but it was during the pass play. Therefore, this rule governs, and we tack this on.
And it is easy to get confused, right? We say a foul during the pass. Oh, we're going to decline that because you got to go to the previous spot.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we don't get into that trick bag. A block below the waist is a personal foul. So since it is a personal foul penalty by the defense on a pass play, we can tack it on if there is no change of team possession and the run ends beyond the neutral zone. So we will go from, in this case, the B6, half the distance to the goal line, first and goal from the B3.
Because if it was defensive holding, we would decline it. Because now we're just back into classic 3-1. fouled by the team not in possession, basic spot, previous spot. Well, the result of the play is better.
That's
Right?
what I was about to look and see what's the result of play relative to.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the 22. Yep, definitely would decline that.
Yep.
And Ryan's asking about the end of the run spot. I think it is a little
Ooh.
generous. It looked like he slid a little bit. Probably the B7 would be a better spot on this particular play, I think.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah, good eyes.
What
Good
else?
eyes. We've seen Ryan in action, man. He kills those
We have.
spots. You know? So it's awesome. Good
Ryan
work.
decided to join the intelligent, athletic position for the Boise camp this year. By the way, Brandon Cruz. I don't know if you
Skill
knew that. or not.
positions. I
Yes.
did. I saw that. I'm really
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah, he's getting
Ryan's
away
always
from.
struck me as you know, just underutilized over there on the line of scrimmage. He's an intelligent guy, you know, relatively good looking. I mean, he could work on that a little bit. But no, I think he's underutilized. I think it's a good upgrade.
There you go.
Sorry, I'll stop. Good.
All right.
Good play.
Yeah. So next play is a 3-play vignette, if I may.
You know,
And you know, we don't do foul, no foul on this. What we call this an illustrious platform. I'll say illustrious on this platform, but we're gonna do a little bit of that. And everybody likes to say how being a deep wing is so easy, just watch one guy. So okay, this is what we're gonna do. You get to play deep wing, everybody out there in Pure Officiating Universe. And we're going to do foul, no foul. Here's the first play. And there'll be multiple angles. There'll be some ISOs. And then we're going to switch to play 2 and play 3. This is still play 1. All right, now we're going to go to play 2.
You picked all the easy plays. I can already tell.
No, man, it's easy being a deep wing, right? All you got to do is watch one dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, another nice ISO on it. All right, here's play 3. And you get to decide which of these are fouls. Are all 3 of them fouls or none of them fouls? Only 1 or 2 of them are fouls. And then we'll have Daniel and Corey break this down since, you know, they've taken my card away. I'm not allowed to speak about this type of stuff anymore.
We didn't take it away. You just failed to renew it on time.
And I still use it though. I just
when
I show my card, I just cover up that expiration date. Put my thumb right over that and flash the card.
ID. Fake ID.
That's right.
The Charlotte 49ers are going to come after you. They're going to come out. They're mad.
We're sitting here, Charlotte. We used that this year as one of our mascot deals too. And the dude who lives in Charlotte, North Carolina, did not get it right. That's amazing.
Wow.
Yes.
I'm not sure who that's worse for. The University of Charlotte or that individual. That man. I'm not sure I love the way my vote is trending here. Just so everybody's aware. I don't know.
Didn't you have what is that, like about 5 or 6 plays at back judge, or was it deep wing that you worked, Brandon? I can't remember which
A
one.
back judge, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I worked the plays so well that the rest of the back judges just wanted me gone. I mean, man.
That was pure comedy.
I had an excellent correct no call for OPI. I had a sprint into the middle of the field on a kickoff. I had an extra point that I signaled good, and I had a really long touchdown that I covered the goal line with great skill. So,
How long was this really long touchdown?
I don't know. It was over 50 yards, though. There was about 140 points scored that day in Austin, Texas.
I was just wondering if you were saying like 35 yards, and that would mean you moved about 5 yards.
Yeah, they just don't do anything back there. That's what was crazy. I did not miss a delay of game, but had I missed one, I probably wouldn't have known it. Just
All right, this is what we're gonna do. We got a fair enough number of votes, and honestly, the voting doesn't matter anyway. So we're gonna close the poll. Uh, 41% of us say none of these are fouls. 27% of us say play 3 is a foul. 14% say play 1 is a foul. 9% say play 1 and play 3 are fouls. And then 5% of us say play 2 and play 3 are fouls. And then 5% of us say all 3 plays are fouls. So it looks like
we got 28% for play 1. Corey, is that right?
Yep.
the Luxner math. That Luxner computer's got to be steaming right now. Smoke's coming out of it.
okay, we're gonna focus
So
on
play 2. Nobody. Oh yeah, all 3. So 5% said play 2.
5%. No, 10%.
No, 10%.
We got play 2 and play 3.
Oh man, yeah. There's too many options. Okay. Yep.
And then what was that?
Play
36,
3's popular.
41, 48% of us say play 3 is a foul.
Okay.
Okay, so Corey Daniel, this is play 1.
Okay. We had, to me, this is very good coverage. I mean, he's there's nothing that's restrictive to the receiver that what he wants to do with the ball. I don't even think the contact even occurs until the ball's there. So we obviously cannot have any type of PI if the ball's already been touched or arrives at that time. If it's if the contact and the ball arrives at about the same time, we kind of want to stay away from that as kind of a general guidance to beat a foul. But I don't see anything that's restrictive here to number 19. He jumps, he gets both hands up. I would not have this as a foul. I mean, I don't even think this would register as something even close to me.
What about 21's right hand on 19's arm, the wide receiver's right arm?
No. I mean, I think that's all happening at the same time.
All right, DUI?
Yeah, that's the only thing that's what you really want to focus in on here is that right hand to 21. Because when the receiver first kind of hooks up, it's there, right? And if he grabs at the hip maybe before he goes up and kind of pulls him backward, that may get your attention. But that just doesn't happen. And you can watch the body language of the receiver. He's got all the opportunity in the world to go up and make this catch. And then once the ball arrives, 21 does use that right hand to pull on the right, like kind of bicep area of the receiver. But at that point, the ball's arrived, and so that's fair game. So I agree, this is not a foul. But to your point, that right hand on the arm of the receiver is where we would want to focus our attention and make sure we had an opinion on that.
And the thing and the ISO is coming up for me now. The thing that it's so tough for me to work man-to-man defense versus zone defense, especially press man, is there's so many decisions to make because right off the line, 21 does something with his right hand. Did he slap the receiver in the face? Did he grab the receiver on the shoulder pad? Did he attempt to do it, but nothing really restrictive occurred? And we got to make that decision. Then all of a sudden, while we're finishing up that decision, then the ball comes, and then his right hand again is on 21's arm. Okay, did that hand get there before the ball? Did it get there with the ball? Did it get there after the ball? We got to make all those decisions. And that's why I think it's so tough for me working these man-to-man, especially press man coverage versus working zone when nobody's even getting touched.
So, the detail that I would like to see on this is, the right hand, it's not a pinning motion. The hand is always moving. So if the hand of a defender is always moving, it's hard for him to pin that arm down. And that's what I am looking for when it comes to that type of a contact, is that hand, keeping the receiver's arm or hand in a spot where he doesn't want it. And when the hand is moving, it's kind of hard to do that physically.
Yeah, you would really want to see, we just want to see effect when we're when we're officiating all fouls. But the effect we would want to see here is that right hand on, like Corey said, and it's wrapped around, and you would want to see the receiver really not able to get that right hand up prior to the ball arriving. Like you would be able to just see him going up there with that left hand extended and him working to get that right hand free, and just not able to do that prior to the ball. There may be some of that once the ball's there. But at that point, again, that's fair game.
All right. Well, there we go. So we don't think that.
And
go ahead, Eli.
Well, let me just say this too, because when we're officiating these plays, the detail is what's so critically important to be able to speak to, whether you end up with a foul or not. And this is a little tricky, Corey, because he's pressed and he comes off almost in a fade or no release. Your instinct is to get out of there. And man, I get it. And I'm not even saying that's wrong necessarily. All I am saying is that if we're stationary officiating this, we're going to have a much better opportunity just to see that detail. Where if we're bailing out.
Yeah, that's a great point, because there's one of these views on here where you see the deep wing going exactly through that process, that he sees that release and you can tell he's starting to bail. When you really, in hindsight, you don't need to move an inch here. So, but it's tempting, especially on these, these tight press situations.
Yeah. One of the things that could be an indicator for you, is 19 is immediately looking back when he releases.
Yes. Yep.
Whenever he really wants to go deep, he's going to come out, his head's downfield, and he's getting it. Right now, we're looking back, and that's something we want to be. That's a detail we want to be able to kind of register and then communicate to us what's going to happen. Now, he may chop and then take off, but I would want to see that, and that communicates to me that I'm going to settle in right now.
Yeah, because when they're going deep, they're getting in that sprinter's posture where their head is down and they pumping those arms and they are really getting it. And this dude, like you say, DY, he did take an outside release and then he immediately looked back. So he's never really threatening to go deep.
That's awesome. That's a good little nugget right there.
You could have used that when your 5 plays at back.
I got a correct no call on OPI.
Oh,
self evaluation.
Oh, selfie. I thought you got
I think the stats department is checking into that right now, so we'll just not take your word for it and trust but verify.
Statute of limitations have expired.
All right, here's play 2. And interesting is this play happened the very next play. So you had to scratch your head on the previous play. Now you got to look at this play.
So I'll start with this one, Corey, since you started in the last one, because this is tough. This is back to back, and you're already probably sitting there thinking, especially if you didn't get all that detail. Gosh, was he early? Did he pin that right hand down? So what a great example of how important it is for us to flush the last play, right, and then move on to what's next. Whether we like it, whether we don't. If we're thinking about that last play, let's just say we made a great no call, and we're just in awe of our phenomenal ability to see the detail and make a decision. Man, we just put ourselves at risk for not processing all of this action. And there's a lot going on here too.
I know.
The defender is clearly into the body of the receiver. This ISO is a great shot here. 21 turns and finds the ball. And then as the ball comes, he's starting to make a play for it. I just love his technique here. It's easy to see the end of this and say, oh, he's not playing the ball, and he gets into his body. One of the things that's helpful for me, Corey, here is that this ball is thrown deep beyond the receiver versus short, and he's trying to get back to it. And then the other thing is the defender looking back and finding this ball. I really like his technique.
Yeah, I do. I do too, DY. And I mean, I think this is a great play to, compare contact versus restriction, because there is a lot of contact. The defender has that left arm goes, behind the back of the receiver, but he doesn't do anything with it. He's just kind of there bracing. And then when the ball gets there, he just shoots that arm up in between the receiver's arms. And this is just excellent coverage. But if we were to just deem, oh, there's contact, we must have a foul, without knowing these details, then we're going to, create an error type of situation in judgment.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. And great point about the left hand around his back, because that's another piece. We just need to be able to see that and know what it's doing. And here it just doesn't do anything. Like, now maybe if we see 19 try to elevate and we see 21 with a fistful of jersey from behind, and he's kind of restricting his ability to go up and get the ball, that's something we would want to, process and then rule on. But here it's around there. It's just not doing anything to the receiver's ability to go get this ball.
It's another example too of the mechanics of this, that, you can tell that the deep wings wanted to get out on this play, but if we just stay still, because I think, kind of that low ISO shot, you can see that, he's just now turning back. He's still bouncing around as this is all happening. Boy, if I'm working this play, I sure would like to just be as still as possible.
So is this ball catchable?
Absolutely.
Yeah. For
so
sure.
we wouldn't want to say that this is an uncatchable pass.
No. Be a tough catch, but that's not the standard, right? We remember when we're looking for uncatchable to take us off of DPI. And look, this is a great point. I'm glad you said that, because I think we get into conversations sometimes where we just don't like something for a foul, and we end up saying, well, he wouldn't have caught that anyway. But that's really a dangerous way to approach that standard. Really what we're looking for is blatantly uncatchable. So we want to officiate the contact and the absence of or presence of restriction, and then we can talk about, is it catchable or not, right? We don't want to just, well, he probably wouldn't have got to that. Really what we're looking for is just, there is no way any human is going to catch that football.
Like, this ball would have to be behind the team bench, basically.
Yeah.
To be uncatchable.
Yeah.
Or a much different trajectory too.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right.
And the other thing that may get you here is this right hand of 19. Why doesn't it go up?
Yep.
Right. You may wonder that on the field. You're like, gosh, that's a one-arm guy. He's using only his left arm. But again, as we're officiating details, we see he wraps his right arm around the helmet of the defender and just makes no attempt to use it. So just don't want to get fooled there.
Yeah. All right. Well, there we go. So we say the first two are not fouls. That's what our opinion is. Here's number 3.
On this one, I think this was the one that stood out to me the most, because, this is a good relationship of that contact and restriction, and how 19's hands are different here as compared to play number 1. So, the first thing that stood out to me when I saw this play was the defender's left hand on the right shoulder of the receiver, and he kept kind of pulling him backwards versus allowing the receiver to stop or maybe even come back for the ball, because this is somewhat of an underthrown or weakly thrown ball. But then you also have the right, I think it's the right hand of the defender as well. He's got that bicep or that elbow just pinned down. And that's the difference that I see between this and the first play, where the hand was just kind of sliding up the arm. This one, he is there to hold it in place. Now, today's receivers, a lot of time, they like that separation, so they'll keep that hand there themselves. But to me, it looks like he's trying to free that arm, and the defender's just not letting him. So for me, this is the one that I had as the only foul.
So I was This was the one I had closest to a foul, and because of your last comment is the direction I went. It's hard to argue with anything you said. I do like the comment about the left hand on the shoulder, because that's the first thing that's going to get your attention, because you'll see that often. And if there's a grab there and he's trying to get off of that as the ball comes, and that affects his body, right? You'll see almost like kind of you're pulling and then somebody lets go and it like whiplashes you a little bit. That would be a foul. But the way that he uses this left hand here, it's really not restrictive, and you need to be aware of it. And it'd be hard for either of the deeps to see it. But we need to know that that left hand is there and then process it coming off and realizing that that's not restrictive at all. I agree with you, Corey. I really do just feel like 24 is using that left arm to post the defender is kind of the way I looked at it. I would have just, liked to have seen him try to get that, like just a little more evidence that he's trying to rip that free and can't. When I'm looking at him, especially through the back, I feel like his hand is into the chest of that defender. And once it's there, from the angle from behind, you can't deny that the right hand of the defender is wrapped around the top of the bicep of the receiver. So you can't argue that. I think you and I are just looking at it two different ways.
Yep, 100%.
I think I love what y'all mentioned. DY, I think you mentioned it would be tough for the Deeps to see the left hand of number 19. I love the way that the line of scrimmage official worked this play, because you can see in one of these angles, he's fairly stationary as all of this stuff is going on. So he can really evaluate the detail of, is that left hand by number 19 pulling on the right shoulder, or is it just on the right shoulder? And he should be able to tell if there's any twisting or turning with that left hand. And I would encourage line of scrimmage officials to get involved with this type of action, because you have to. There's going to be times when we just don't have that angle from the backside, and we need it from the front side.
For sure.
All right, well, this was just a really quick lesson in how easy it is.
Utah, break the tie.
Oh, on this play?
Yeah.
Okay, well, before I break the tie, I'm going to ask two questions to Daniel and Corey. Is the receiver giving up on the play, number one? And number two, is it just two dudes with hands on each other? Because we hear both of those arguments a lot of time. Oh, he gave up on the play, or, oh, they're just both hand fighting. So what do we see there relative to those two?
I don't think he gave up on the play.
I don't either, not at all.
Okay.
And the hand fighting one is tough, because you do see the defender's hand wrapped around the top of the receiver's hand. I guess I'll say it is more hand fighting, because I feel like he's more interested in the defender at that point than trying to get off and go catch the ball. Like, I don't know if it's because it's underthrown and the defender just has that underneath position. I would like to see more with that left hand trying to get free and try to make a catch. And then maybe the argument as well, it can't get free because it's pinned. And I don't have much to say to that, but I don't know. I don't like just saying that's just hand fighting. I want to see that right hand on top of the receiver's arm. Right. Like I said, when I look at that back view, I just don't ever see him trying to get away from that. I see he's jammed up. He's got his palm up into the chest of the defender, and I feel like he kind of likes it there.
So that's kind of what I was getting to when I was asking about giving up on the play, like not really trying to catch the ball.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So if I'm the defensive coach, I'm gonna say, man, this dude is not even trying to catch the. Look, he's just standing there. He's not even trying to catch the ball. So how would we answer that if the coach brings that to us?
Well, I didn't throw my flag, so I'm gonna be like, yeah.
So if I have to break the tie, I'm gonna go with Corey. I really think 19 is just hanging on that left arm. I think initially 24 did want to keep that space and want that arm to be there on that shoulder. But as the ball is arriving, 24 is ready to disengage. He's done with this relationship that we have here, this dance. We're over. We're done. The music has stopped. I'm ready to go and get some punch now. And 19 said, no, we're not going to stop dancing. And he's just restricting the dude. He stopped the dude from ending the dance, I think. So I think I'm going to go with Corey. I think I like this one as a foul.
Good stuff. The whole body language of the receiver with that outside releasing was cool. And then, this contact versus restriction idea. That's pretty good.
Blazing new trails here.
Finally, we just get to talk about if it's a foul or not and do something valuable.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's put up an RPS play.
Uh-oh.
That was a joke. But we are going to talk about some shenanigans on the try. We got a poll up, and there's a fair number of
buddy.
options here.
This play is nuts. What is going on? I think we know what the line judge is calling. So that's
we do.
Very good job.
Yeah.
What in the world?
So we need to figure out this numbering exception stuff. There's a bunch of things that we probably gonna be considering as these dudes shift. It's like, oh my God, what just happened? Yeah. So week 10, or was it week 9? I don't know. We had a team shift into a punt formation, and it was illegal. And we chose to warn the team afterwards instead of flagging it. And I don't have a really good answer why. I just didn't feel like it was such a big deal, I guess, but I probably should have just flagged it because I knew for a fact it was wrong.
Man, this play is just so hard to keep track of everybody.
Yep.
I mean, golly. I guess I'm not clear on B, what we're saying on B. That's how fast I'm processing this stuff tonight.
You got
I'm
from
stuck
A to
on, I'm stuck on B. What do we mean by the player in the original holder position cannot be covered up? I guess I just wouldn't select that one because he's not. He's on the end of the line.
So the poll asked, what statement best fits this play situation?
Okay, so I just answered my own question.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't understand. Yeah. Just the poll writer must have really been trying to be creative.
Hey, when y'all did did y'all have to do the CTBS test, Brandon, out there in South Dakota? You remember that standardized test? I might be aging myself here. Corey, I know you did CTBS test.
I've never heard of that before in my life.
Oh, get out of here. That was a standardized test.
I don't know.
We did standardized test. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, we did standardized test. I don't think it was called
whatever standardized test they're taking in Louisiana. Nobody else in the rest of the country is using that test.
Oh, y'all not smart enough to figure him out? Okay.
Yeah.
It's all good.
That's not that.
I was just wondering if, Brandon, if y'all did collaborative tests at the end of the year when y'all did y'all standardized tests when you were like a young snotty-nosed fourth grader.
I think I've said before, this is intended to work individually together. So yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, wow. This is interesting. The California Test of Basic Skills. Why in the world were we taking a CTBS test in California?
I think that explains a lot.
Yeah, that's why I never heard of it.
And I think it also explains a lot about what's going on down there.
Or is it the comprehensive test of basic? I'm on Google. I can't figure this out. But we used to take something called a CTBS test. That was way back in like 3rd, 4th grade or something like that. Oh, Tom knows about this play. We talked about this play at our clinic this past week, and I got to meet Tom at the clinic. Really cool to meet him. So this was one of the plays I saw this play. I'm like, oh my God. And the referee was kind enough to talk about, what happened on this play. And of course, the coach did not tell them about this particular play.
Oh,
Come on.
row the boat.
Yes.
Come on, Scotty Ma.
And Carl Jeffers, who was leading our breakout, he was funny because he apparently hates this kind of stuff when coaches don't tell us about it.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, he was flipping out over this, and I can understand why.
Well, so Carl this season prevented a coach from running a play, and it would have been illegal the way they described it. So it was just a really good job. He told them not to do it. I mean, it was hilarious.
Like in pregame, they talked about it.
Yeah. The guys came back to the locker room, and we're all like, "What is he talking about? That can't be right." Carl goes to him in the walk around, before the game, is like, "Do not run that play." And I mean, whatever he says, everybody's just like, "Okay, Carl, okay," it's hilarious. But I mean, it was a good job because what if we don't catch it, right? And then we're in trouble because we let it, whatever. But it's just this stuff is they gotta let us know about this stuff. That's
exactly
unfortunate
because we're sitting here scratching our heads, going from A to G, thinking about, wait a minute. Do I need to think about this? Do I need to think about that? Wait, is this right? Is that right? Oh, so I'm gonna close the poll here.
Did anybody actually answer the poll? I mean, I'm still on C.
Yeah, you're slow. We know reading comprehension ain't your strong suit. So 32% of us say since all of the original linemen stayed on the line of scrimmage after the shift, this formation is legal. That's interesting.
No. Oh, sorry. I'm so confused by that.
32% of us say none of the above statements are relevant to this play situation.
Jeez. You had to put that one in there.
Of course.
Yeah.
11% of us say 887 cannot shift into the snapper position since he was not originally an interior lineman. I don't know what that means either. I don't know what half of these answers mean. 11% of us say the player in the original snapper position must be covered up after the shift.
Well, I don't know. I'm interested to hear an interpretation that you guys are going to talk about. So.
Possibly.
Okay.
And 5% of us say none of the interior linemen can be on the end of the line after the shift. None of the interior linemen can be on the end of the line after the shift. Okay.
I kind of like that one, but I don't know. I'm waiting.
Okay, so the first thing we need to know is, are any of these players ever? Oh, and 11% of them, I missed this one. All numbering exception players are locked in before the shift. Okay. So there's really, we can make this play really simple. Number one, did the center address the ball? That's the first question and the first distinction we have to make.
So what? Because he didn't put his hands down there, he didn't?
And exactly. Addressing the ball is your hands have to be below the knees or touching the ball. This dude, and I know this coach did it on purpose. He coached this player well. Keep your hands in your waist. Don't put your hands below your waist. His hands never left his waist. You can see where the snapper's hands are. Mine is on the end zone.
Okay.
Reverse end zone view.
And so that's black and white, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, then that's what it is.
So we don't have any of this shifting crap that we even have to worry about. So anything with I can't shift here, he can't shift there, he can shift this way, he can't shift that way. Let's forget about all of that. Next thing, what does the numbering exception rule apply to?
Well,
and that's not a trick question.
It applies to when they have, first of all, less than 5 players.
What type of formation? I'll ask it like that.
Kick.
Scrimmage kick formation.
Yeah.
So was this a scrimmage kick formation? Yes or no?
No, I don't think so.
No. There's nobody in position to kick the ball. There's this dude is 7 yards behind after the shift. Okay. So after the shift, this is not a scrimmage kick formation. So there's no such thing as a numbering exception. So what does that mean?
You got to have 5 numbered 50 through 79.
79. And that's literally the only thing you need to worry about. So if you're thinking about A and B and C and I got to D, I'm thinking about E. Well, shoot, what about F? You're wasting your brain power. Stop hurting yourself. I'm a simple man. I keep saying that. I like to make stuff simple. Is this a scrimmage kick formation? No. Okay, well, you better have 5 players number 50 through 79. The end.
And they don't.
They do not.
Wow.
So here's the
There you
interesting thing that the referee shared with us. I think this crew did a great job working this play. And the referee, he shared with us that he realized they did not have 5 players 50 through 79. He was counting a bunch of times because, you don't, there's one piece of advice I can give somebody. Don't make a mistake creating a situation that doesn't exist. Make a mistake because you missed something that did happen. He was counting a bunch of times, making sure that they had less than 5, 50 through 79. By the time he finished counting, the ball was snapped. He realized that the line of scrimmage dude marked him short. The try was no good. So he said, you know what? I'm not going to throw a late flag because then it's no good anyway. So it doesn't matter. And then, of course, you can see what happened with this play. Replay paged to see if this dude did, in fact, break the plane of the goal line with the ball prior to being down. So we had a really good discussion about this play. I think this is a great play for us to think about when teams do all the shifting crap. Are they in a scrimmage kick formation after they shift? If not, they better have 5 players 50 through 79. Number one, did the snapper address the ball? If not, forget about all of that shifting stuff and who needs to be where. They're not locked in. They're not locked in until the snapper addresses the ball. So those 2 simple things, I think, can make a play like this a little easier to handle. It's not going to be easy, but it'll make it a little easier to handle, I think.
Okay, so I did a good job only getting through C. That's what I learned from this.
Did, Brandon. You could have just skipped to G and said whatever. So the player that's upright next to the holder, we're saying he's not a kicker or not in a kicker position. Sean, I think you're asking after the shift. If you're asking about prior. Oh, okay, yes. This initially, if this is a scrimmage kick formation initially, because it appears number one, we have a holder, we have a position in a player in position to kick the ball. There's a holder, and it is somewhat obvious that the ball will be kicked because it's a try. But once they shift, they are no longer in a scrimmage kick formation, which means all of those rules relative to the scrimmage kick formation and numbering are no longer relevant.
So just because they presented a potential scrimmage kick formation, that doesn't mean they get to play with those rules if they shift out of it.
That's correct.
Okay, that's good.
Opposite of a swinging gate. Well, it depends. And we actually have a play that we're supposed to look at in our clinic in a little while where there's a swinging gate with no kicker and no holder in position. Well, that swinging gate situation, there are no numbering exceptions just because it's a try. A lot of times we get confused and we think, oh, it's a try, so there's numbering exceptions. No, it has to be a scrimmage kick formation to have those numbering exceptions.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is just a crazy play.
So we kind of got it right, but if this gets overturned to a 2-point conversion,
we're in trouble.
Yeah,
because we missed in the illegal formation due to only 4 players, number 50 through 79.
Yeah. That was cool. The referee admitted that, like in front of a lot of other people at a clinic.
Yeah.
That was cool to talk about it candidly like that.
Yep.
Because then, it's, everybody can empathize for sure. Be like, yeah, I can kind of see that, man, what an interesting play.
So Ed's asking about a drop kick. Well, if you read, I think it's 2-16 is the definition of a scrimmage kick formation. The player who's kicking the ball has to be at least 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage, I think it is. And it has to be obvious that a kick will be made. In this situation, I don't think it's obvious that a kick is made after they shift into whatever they were in.
Well, we have standards for that too. Isn't that objective as well?
Well, it is objective, but what's not objective is how deep this player is lined up.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So,
Yeah.
like, you know, whatever we think about, could they or couldn't they? There's a standard.
That's correct. That's correct. And Connor's asking about replay helping.
No, it's not reviewable, but I think and of course, this is highly dependent on conference policy. So last time I checked, peer officiating doesn't run any conferences. So
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. Yeah, exactly. If the officials, let's put yourself in the shoes of a coordinator. Let's just fast forward to when you're 100 years old. That's not too far away, is it? But would you be comfortable in this case with the referee asking replay? A referee huddles up with somebody like the umpire and says, "Hey, Mr. Replay official," or whoever he's talking to, communicator. Man, I'm pretty sure there are only 4 players numbered 50 through 79. Can you verify that for me? Would you be comfortable with that or not? Because it's not reviewable by traditional instant replay.
I would not want that kind of help. I think we need to get that on the field, and if we screw it up, I don't want to create that type of foul, even in a collaborative environment.
Okay.
But that's just me, though.
Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, I don't think there's a standard across the board. If this was the game-winning play and he scores, and the national championship is decided on or your conference championship game next year or whatever.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. We can always play that wonderful what if game.
Right. Yeah, that one's getting a little hairy there. Now, if this is the game-winning play and we know that it was incorrectly officiated, I sure would hope that we could help and fix it.
Okay.
All right. Well, we got one more play to go.
Let's do one more. So we got our targeting process up. The poll is launched. The play is rolling. 3 elements of targeting. So we used to do 3 separate polls, and since we don't take very long on polls anymore, we decided to combine them all into one. Bit of a joke. So obviously the poll asks us about our 3 elements, and we're looking at defenseless player. That is the player receiving the hit. Then we're looking at the indicator. That's relative to the player delivering the hit. And of course, the force of the contact. How ironic that that the assistant coordinator of the Big Sky chose a Big Sky play. Did you guys notice that?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Appropriate. Assistant coordinator seems like a stretch.
Well, I think if you asked him, he'd probably claim to be,
right.
Probably commissioner or something. Executive vice president. Senior vice president.
It's a good one.
Hey, so we're about 10 years into this targeting thing, I think. Maybe a little more. How many flags for targeting have you guys thrown personally?
Oh, man, that's a great question. I threw one this year.
Yeah.
I think maybe 6 to 8.
Really?
Wow.
Huh. Okay.
I know I had one year where I had 3.
Okay.
Man, I
think, Corey, our first year, we didn't have targeting as a crew.
We did not.
That's yeah. And then
I had my first one this year since like 2020, 2021.
Yeah, I would say for sure they're less and less, aren't they, Corey?
Yeah, 100%.
Well, it's just statistically, it really doesn't happen that much.
Nope.
I mean, it's like 1 every 6 games or something. I think I don't know what the stat is, but
yeah, they went over that at a clinic I was at a couple weeks ago, and it was, I think it was right at 1 every 6 games, or maybe like 1.57 or something like that.
I mean, it's
rare.
Just, yeah. It gets a lot of attention because ejection, or I'm sorry, disqualification. But all right, so we got to get these votes in.
You can watch it about 8 more times. And
Yeah, let's let it loop. Let's see. So here's a tricky thing. I personally don't see how I can close the poll. Can you close it?
I can close it.
Okay, good.
Are we ready?
Sure. I don't care. Yeah, why not? Let's go for it.
Let me see real quick. Let me do a little math here. We still got a few coming in. Hang tight. Everybody relax.
Okay.
There's some interesting numbers on this one.
So I know Brandon, I closed it, took us through what we're looking at here. And so, if this is your first time kind of going through this with us, the temptation is, well, is this targeting or not? Like, let's just call it if it's targeting or not. We're certainly going to have to do that on the field. It's really, there's very specific things that have to be present for it to rise to the level of targeting. And we find value in evaluating each of those things in isolation, over and over and over and over and over and over again. Although we haven't been super heavy targeting lately, but just in general, this is a process, is something we really like to do. So if you're just sitting there thinking, well, I just think it's targeting, or that's not targeting, we would just encourage you to go through this process and really test that. And then that, in hopes that, because then the response may be after that, well, you don't get to do that on the field. No, that's true. You got to make a decision. However, if we can do this over and over and over and train ourselves to think about these 3 things, then we can do that on the field too, even though we're ultimately making, and that'll inform our decision, is it or isn't it targeting?
So I think this was a tricky one, because the question is, what hit are we even looking at?
Yep.
To me, I think we're looking at both. You know what I mean? I think we're looking at both. So let's
go. Let's look at both.
Let's do it through both. So the hit by number 2, the hit by 30. 30 is the hit after the runner's down, and 2 is the hit during the play to tackle him. Okay, when he's hit by 2, is he defenseless?
No, not even close.
He's clearly transitioned to a runner, so he's not defenseless. When he's hit by 30, is he defenseless?
Yes.
Clearly is defenseless on the ground. Can't protect himself. He really can't protect himself. So however you were working this poll question, which was very vague, obviously, not defenseless for the hit, during the play, and absolutely defenseless for the hit after the play. So just throw the flag then for the hit after the play?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Let's talk about indicator.
2 more elements.
So we got 2 more elements. So we got talking about indicator. Okay, this live ball action by, who is that? Number 2.
Number 2.
What if we're looking for the presence of an indicator for a hit against a non-defenseless player? What would you be looking for?
Oh, that's a great way to position that question. The answer is, we're looking for, because if he's not defenseless, then the only way we're going to have targeting is by using the crown of the helmet to attack, right? And go beyond making a tackle. And so what this one was, I think, always, maybe not always, that's dumb. Most often, indicator 2 or element number 2, which is the indicator, is the one that's really hard, because there's a lot of subjectivity to it. And so we try to, use certain language to help us get there. For me, when we start talking about targeting with the crown, really like to see a distinctive ducking of the head prior to contact that really shows we're lining up to use that crown as in an attacking manner. And I just don't see that here from number 2. We do get a little bit parallel to the ground. And so, that crown is coming in, but it's just not that clear and obvious duck of the chin that I really like to see. And that sometimes we see really subtly at the very, very moment before contact, but I just don't see it here. I don't know if you guys are seeing anything different. I see him just kind of come in with that shoulder and not really attempt to duck that chin and use the crown, in my opinion.
You're talking about number 2, correct?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I should've
No,
clarified there.
I totally agree with you. I think this is in terms of technique, I think this is what we're hoping to see a lot of times.
Okay, good. Yeah. So even though maybe some of that shoulder hits him in the head, I don't even know if it does, but let's say it does. Even though that shoulder hits him in the head, we're not just going to apply. I personally feel like we shouldn't just willy-nilly apply any type of, striking action as an indicator. I think we should take it that the elements stand by themselves, but they're related. I mean, they're related. They have to be evaluated by themselves, but in context with each other. Okay. So now what about 30 though? What about anything for an indicator from 30 against a defenseless player? Because now he's defenseless when 30 hits him.
Yeah, I just in terms of an indicator for 30, I think he's just kind of going after a guy that's just been tackled. I mean, we see this type of action all the time. I wouldn't see anything that rises to an indicator. He's got his head up the whole time. He's not really crouching and trying to like drive into him in any, which is a weird component because I guess when we think of an indicator, most of the time the players are upright, so we're looking for like that thrust or that launching type thing. And so when a player's on the ground, I think we'd want to see kind of an old school spearing type of technique, just going in like a battering ram. But here I can't see anything that would stand out to me as an indicator.
Yeah, what do you think, DY? Anything else there?
No, I like that. I think he could attack with the shoulder too, which is a little bit different from Corey's spearing thing. Like I think we could attack maybe with a forearm. But it's certainly something extra compared to this, Now look, if he's got a running start, this to me is more kind of akin to just falling on a guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Versus attacking who's is on the ground.
So I agree. I think the contact to the head is a little bit troubling, but I don't see a real indicator saying that he went over and above any means. I mean, it's a little late too. So the later it is, the more indicator-ish it becomes, I feel like. Because then there's just intent behind that.
Right. That's a good point.
Man, I'm a little bit on the fence here. Because some of these angles make it look like he does kind of spring himself into him a little bit. But he kind of braces himself too. I don't know. What am I way out? Am I an outlier?
No, I mean, that's
he braces
fair.
himself after the contact.
Yeah, he does. There's a little oomph there. You can see that. I mean, you're not way out of in left field to say that.
Yeah, and we've talked about this. When a player's on the ground, it doesn't take a whole lot for us to find an indicator because the guy's laying on the ground. So I don't think that's in left field. I would still say that to me, this isn't going to rise to the level of an indicator, but I certainly hear where you're coming from for sure.
All right. Well, we need to see that. Okay. And then, we just make a decision. Now, if we do have doubt and we're on the fence, we're going to lean. Oh, do we lean towards? We lean towards defenseless if we're on the fence. If we're on the fence about indicator, we lean towards not one, I believe.
I think we do. I think we do because remember, if we look at it through the replay standard, we're having to confirm all three elements.
Yeah.
So with that indicator being probably most of the time the most subjective of the elements that we're evaluating, I think we're going to lean towards not.
Yeah. So we kind of want these indicators to jump out on the field. Replay can do whatever they want, but we want these indicators to jump out on the field a little more. Okay. All right. So we're leaning no towards the indicator by number 30. We absolutely do not have an indicator by number 2. Okay, the force. I don't think we even need to talk about number 2. So he got his crown of the helmet out of there. The guy is not defenseless. there's just nothing there. How about, so if you had an indicator by 30, would this be forcible enough to rise the level of targeting? Let me just position it that way, because that's how we're wanting to view this.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what you have. That's what you have to consider.
Yeah.
Right. Great way to put it.
And it's close. And I don't think it is, personally.
Yeah, for me it doesn't. I think and this is where your comment relative to them being evaluated in isolation, but also being related kind of comes into play, where if this indicator is a little bit more aggressive, if we really see him attack, that it's going to change the force of the contact, right? To where we're going to say, oh man, maybe this does rise the level of targeting. And here where we see like as an indicator, there's a little extra there, but when he gets the contact, it's not nothing. I mean, it's face mask to face mask, but to me, it's just not forcible. It's more like a pushing down of his helmet. We don't really see a recoil by the ball carrier, right? Like his helmet doesn't fly back. He just kind of falls down and then pushes it down with his own face mask.
Yeah. You good with that, Corey?
Absolutely. Yeah. There's not much I can add to that.
I think if we see this clearly, it may be a good one just to tell 30. Whew, that's on the edge. And it's on the edge of UNR too, just because of how late it is, in my opinion. I mean, it's not the, I've seen a lot more later hits, certainly. The relative small amount of force, I think, mitigates it. I'll tell you what, though, that shot from behind the offense, from the end zone, makes it look a little more than it does in some of these other shots. So it's I could see somebody evaluating this in real time as something that does rise to the level of UNR. I'd be okay with that if we see it clearly. The slow motion makes it look like nothing, which is interesting. It's usually the other way around. So I think we land on yes. So just for the hit by 30, we land on yes, defenseless. I'm leaning more towards an indicator than you guys were, but whatever. We're all kind of on the fence there. And then we're going to say just the force doesn't quite rise to the level of targeting. So that could be a yes, yes, no, or a yes, no, no for that hit by 30. It's clear that the player is defenseless, so that's an absolute yes. The indicator is up for debate, although not really by you guys. And then the force, not really forcible enough to rise the level of targeting. -1 camera view. This is what we kind of like to do. I'm the referee. I call this maybe as the back judge. I don't know if you're going to see it as a back judge, but whoever, maybe you do see it from another position. If I call this as the referee, what process do you want to go through, just communication wise? Because I'd really like to talk to somebody about this if I call this.
Well, which one are you calling? Number 30?
Yeah, I'm calling 30. Yeah.
I would come in because on the field, we go through these elements, defenseless, indicator, forcible, but I work them backwards in reverse order on the field. The first thing I look for is that forcible aspect. So I think if I had eyes on this, and I think I might have whether deep wing or back judge, I think you might have a good angle on this. I would come in and say, hey, Brandon, I did not have that as forcible. And just go and see where the conversation went there.
Yeah. And so then if in my mind, I just launched because, man, he's diving on a player on the ground. Like, oh, geez, maybe I didn't really evaluate the forcible component. That's why this process is so valuable, because now we can recreate it through our, which is dictated by our mechanics. We need to have this conversation in real time on the field after we have a flag down for targeting. So if you come in and say, I just didn't have that as forcible for targeting, and I realized, geez, I really just threw on the action by 30, kind of what I felt was a too aggressive of a piling on almost, towards the head. I just threw on that. I didn't even evaluate the force. Now we can piece that together and maybe arrive at one conclusion or the other. Or if I did, I said, well, Corey, I'm telling you, man, I saw his head lurch back from that contact. So I like it as forcible.
Then at that point, I think I would say, okay, go with it.
Yeah.
because
or you could go in to say, look, do you really think he attacked him? Right? Do you really think but you would almost feel like that was probably inherent in the call.
Yeah. I mean,
it's not wrong to have that. You don't want to prolong the conversation, but it wouldn't be wrong.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Cool. We don't even need to talk about the defenseless component again. We do want to clear who we're calling this.
Yes.
Like if you come in and say, "Are you calling out on the guy who made the tackle?" and I say yes, you would just say, "Well, you're not even coming to halftime." Like, no,
right.
But again, okay. Well, look, I clearly saw his helmet to the side, and that guy's a runner. So there's no way to have targeting there, and we can just clear that up fast.
Yeah, I mean, but you bring a good point, since there are two actions here. We would, if there is any conversation, we need to make sure we're talking about the same player.
Right. And then no, I was calling it on 30, the guy who hit him late. Oh, okay. Well, gosh, I just didn't think that was all that forcible. And then I would have my opinion of why I threw the flag. And geez, either I didn't realize about the force, and that's a great point. Thank you, Mr. Corey. I'm going to pick this flag up, put it in replays court. They can do whatever they want. Or I'll stick with the force. We can have a discussion on the indicator right there. We really don't need to spend too much time in real time with the defenseless component, because we just know that. I mean, me calling this a late hit, that's a defenseless player. So we don't have to hem and haw around the first element in the on the field. We do that here because we're loading our brain to be ready to perform in the moment. So very, very good. What else? What else here? Anything?
We had a question come in that if playing the what if game, which is your favorite game of the whole world.
Oh yeah.
If that force is enough for to satisfy element 3, would you go UNR plus with targeting or just targeting?
Yeah, for me, because this already kind of screams like a late hit to me. And I'm not saying I'm throwing my flag, but it just like he's late.
Yeah,
he's late to this guy. So for me, if this is targeting, then to me it's just late, and that's with that amount of force. Yes, I'm going dead ball UNR with targeting. Are you okay with that?
Well, I don't think it's late, but that's
okay.
I think that this is had this just been a little he's going towards a downed runner, I don't think you would ever consider this a UNR.
Okay.
I think this kind of highlights the action a little bit. Like if he just kind of puts his shoulder into his gut or his midsection, I think we would say this as the play is dying.
Yeah. Okay. And I personally think that I would like Mr. number 30 here to look at this play and answer me and say, dude, if you're the athlete that you probably think you are, and that I probably think you are too, you could probably avoid a little more of this than you did.
No, I agree. And I agree with that. I think that if I were to see this play and it, without the elements of target we're talking about, I think I would have a chat with this guy. I don't know if I go straight to a foul.
I got you. Yeah. And for sure, if it's this same amount of force in a different area of the body, it probably doesn't even jump out really at all. It's just kind of a little snuggle. The head being involved does potentially magnify this to me.
As it would to anybody.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking with more force to the head, like I'm going to go UNR with target. But that's kind of how, like when we call, hits to the sliding quarterbacks, as you guys know, are tough calls. And it's not just a referee call or a center judge call. Everybody is involved. I think referees and center judges are probably take more reps on that in their studies. Those are tough calls. I mean, those are tough calls. So this is almost kind of like that, although it's not. But I see this, and it just, when I see a contact to the head like this, it just makes me think about that component of it. So I think I'm more inclined to consider. In other words, my threshold for UNR for this type of action is probably less because I'm conditioned with these sliding quarterbacks. See what I'm saying?
Very true.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's right or wrong, but it's just probably true. So if this rose to the level of targeting, I'm definitely at it. I'm putting UNR on top of this as well. Just, I don't know. That's me. All right. Well, I'm still trying to work through the polls. quite frankly, I haven't got through any of those polls yet, so I got to go back. I'll work on putting the replay up, and maybe everybody else can go work through the polls. I don't know what got into him with these polls. I know that they're the Big Sky preseason clinic in February is off and running, so that's where the poll writer had to escape to tonight. But we do thank him for testing our ability to read. I know that.
Yep.
That's VSG 184 in the books. Good job, DUI Corey. Good work.
Yep. It's always fun.
Yes, sir. All right. I think if we go Tuesday might be tough for me next week. We may be deciding Monday. I got this whole high school tennis season I'm navigating here. So
Love it.
we'll figure it out and put together a new set of plays for 185 next week.
At some point, there will be more plays, and we will be talking about them.
Yes, sir. All right. Have a great night. We're out of here.
Thanks,
Adios.
guys.
Later.
See you.